Hey guys, welcome to Basketball Network. My name is Steven, and it is my pleasure to welcome to the show ALEX ACKER. Alex is a former NBA player. He played with the Detroit Pistons and the Los Angeles Clippers, but he really made a name for himself playing in Europe. Of course, we'll get to that later. First of all, Alex, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Much appreciated, man. I appreciate it, Stephen. I thank you for having me here today and talking about my basketball experience and stuff like that. And let's get the show rolling, baby.
The pleasure is all mine, man. Okay, let's start with your career playing in the NBA. You were drafted to the NBA in 2005. You were actually the 60th pick of the 2005 NBA draft. Take us back to that to the draft night. Was it a nerve-wracking experience having to wait so long for your name to be called? And did you have any information on whether you were going to get drafted at all?
Honestly, I was able to perform in front of a lot of NBA teams during that course of pre-draft and stuff. So it was really mind-boggling how professional you had to be as far as being on time, being prompt, making sure you're eating right and healthy and you're ready to go. You know what I mean? Because I was thrown under the fire with a lot of teams. My first workout was with the Los Angeles Lakers, and we had guys right, off the bat, Nate Robinson, and the list goes on of crazy potential. And I had to hold my own. So with that being said, man, I felt that I played really good, higher than my expectations, that what they presented. And unfortunately, a lot of teams that had the potential of drafting me early, they really said that, we were really shocked of how good you played. And but you really don't have a name. So we can't really draft you because the fans won't know who the hell you are. So I took that as a way of actually like using that as fire, and going into a lot of other workouts, I was really using that as my momentum and making sure that everybody knew my name. With that being said, though, I just let it all out on the table. And a lot of teams actually said if I was not going to hear my name called, that they were going to pick me up. It was teams like the the Detroit, I'm not for like the Chicago Bulls. They didn't have a draft pick at the time, and they said if I was still there, they would pick me up. So I was really happy just to hear that. It went all the way down to my third to last workout with the Detroit Pistons, and I remember it like today. I didn't even get shots up really. They knew that I could shoot the ball, but I didn't know they knew. So I played unbelievable defense, countless defense off of everybody, off of full court defense. And it was one of those things where the Detroit Pistons pride themselves on playing defense, and they just wanted to see if I could play defense. Coming from the West Coast Conference, we tend to have a reputation of being soft. But nonetheless, though, they were really impressed by that standpoint of, me playing defense. So they really was just hyped about me playing. And they was like, we're going to pick you up. With that being said, I had my family, my church members, everybody waiting for me to actually get my name called. And it was like one of those things where if I don't hear my name called, everybody's going to think like, damn, we came out here for nothing. Like, damn, it was ugly, So yeah. From 1 to all the way to 57, I heard Detroit Pistons call Amir Johnson out of Westchester, my native town in LA. A high school kid, actually the last high school player to actually get drafted. And shout out to Amir Johnson. And I was really pissed because I thought that was their last pick. And I remember in my head, I hearing Dumars like, yes, we're really impressed. We're going to pick you up. And I was really pissed. And then when they called his name, I got a phone call. My agent picked up the phone. It was Jerome Stanley at the time. And he gave me the phone. He said, this is for you. And I was like, who is it? He says, Detroit Pistons. And I'm like, they don't have no more picks. Why are they calling me? So Dumars pretty much said, Alex, we got you. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, we got you. And I was like, and I'm looking at the screen with the phone in my ear, like, what the hell is he talking about? You have no more picks. So then it got to 57, 58, 59, to 60. I'm still on the phone with him because it went so fast because, nobody's really looking at, these last player picks. So long story short, They called my name. I dropped the phone. I went to my knees. Everybody crowded me, and it was an amazing thing. Not alone to hear my name called, but just to be that special as far as the last player picked, you know.
Yeah, incredible, man. I actually read a story about the pickup game you played during your sophomore year at the university. You played with the likes of was it Chauncey Billups, Kevin Garnett. Is that true? And then
no, it's definitely true.
I read that Chauncey called Joe Dumars and said, "This is the guy."
Yeah.
Can you talk about that pickup game?
It started off with Reggie Miller, and he brought a house in Malibu, and my college is in Malibu, Pepperdine University, and he would come in the gym and work out. Now, if anybody doesn't know, Reggie Miller is my role model, my idol as far as playing basketball. Long Beach, Cal Poly, sensation in high school, went to UCLA, phenomenal player, you know, as a stigmatization. And then, you know, went to the Indiana Pacers and just became a phenomenal athlete as well, too, and an all-around genuine person. So with that being said, man, I got an honor to work out with him. And I apologize. That was my alarm for you.
Okay.
But yeah, I got an honor to work out with him. And I was really blessed to actually work out with a pro just to see how hard they went. And it kind of checked myself because I really thought that I was working hard, but I wasn't working hard after, you know, working out with him. So that drive of actually seeing an NBA player in my gym working out as hard as me, it gave me like I gotta step it up. So that being said, that summer was really amazing because I was playing 1-on-1 with him, and then the other guys came, was playing 2-on-2, 3-on-3, and then he started playing 5-on-5 when it was the right time for him to play. And then he was like, you know what? I'm gonna bring some other guys. He didn't tell us who. He just said some other guys in the league. So he brought Jermaine O'Neal, and it was a wow factor because he was out of high school too. Big guy, you know what I mean? Then all of a sudden, the next few weeks, it came from Kevin Garnett and Chauncey Billups, you know, and Tyronn Lue when he was playing, Mark Jackson when he was playing, Stephon Marbury, you know, Reggie Jackson. Like the list went on as far as the people that was coming in. And normally they would play in UCLA, but for whatever reason, they was like, you know what, we're going to play here because we don't have to worry about leaving our bags. You guys played phenomenal. So it was amazing. You know what I mean? I held my own. And that was the year that Kevin Garnett actually got MVP, you know, of the league. So we helped him do that. You know what I mean? So it was pretty awesome.
Wow, man, incredible.
Not that he would say that we helped him, but yeah, it felt good to actually see that happen. And that was the year also that the Detroit Pistons in 2004 won a championship against the Los Angeles Lakers. You know what I mean? So those guys got a great workout. We got a phenomenal lesson in it whole. I actually ditched and cut a lot of classes just to make sure I was in the gym.
We all would, man.
Yeah, for sure. But
you get that type of opportunity.
For sure. The whole thing of it all, though, I was just a sponge. I didn't want like shoes and jerseys and, you know, whatever incentive that they was giving out just free of charge. I really wanted to learn the game. And they saw that as a really good example of trying to better myself. And Chauncey Billups really took me underneath his wings. And, you know, I didn't know where it was going, but it actually helped me that year. My junior year, I was phenomenal. You know, I was above average, and I was playing against the best competition in college, and I was holding my own from that point. And we had a pretty good schedule from Oregon, from UCLA, and I was getting double digits, and I was getting double doubles, you know what I mean, against the best. And it showed, you know, from that point on, I put my name in the draft, not thinking nothing was going to happen. And then, I really was just putting my name out there. And Chauncey was like, listen, you know, I'm going to put your name out there, you know, with Dumars. So that being said, man, I was really blessed to see that. And they really took me as serious as I took myself, you know. And once they said that, I just kept my name in the draft. Like, I was like, I don't care where I go, just to see, you know what I mean, my name getting called was be, you know, phenomenal from that standpoint.
I bet, man. Was
Yeah.
Chauncey your mentor once you came into the NBA?
Yeah. Chauncey held me down. I think that was the year where the dress code was really issued, and he gave me some great suits that I can't fit no more right now because I've been retired for 2 years, so I gained a little weight.
You're out of basketball shape.
Yeah, I'm in like some pickup ball shape right now, you know. But for the most part, man, it was just really good to see how he was attacking the game on and off the court, how he was mentally preparing himself. You know, one thing I got to say, you know, as a college athlete, you know, you only played 34 games. You know, to really be taking this serious and have a dollar sign in front of you and having 82 games and being a professional, it's a lot, you know, of understanding that you have to go through. And to have these kind of guys to mentor me was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I think people don't really realize how tough it is to be an NBA player. Just in terms of the schedule, the physicality, the mental aspect of the game. I really do think people kind of underestimate what it's like to be an NBA player, be a professional basketball player.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, you were 23 at the time when you joined the Detroit Pistons. What was your initial reaction once you realized you were going to join the contending team?
I was my initial reaction was like, I'm about to get a championship ring. All I got to do is just make the team, you know. For anybody that doesn't know, a second round draft pick isn't guaranteed, you know, all the way until you sign a contract. You getting invited to veteran camp. It's a phenomenal standpoint, but you're still not on the team. So I still had to be able to make a team. I had to showcase my talent in the summer league in Las Vegas and hold my own from that point as far as all the first round draft picks from last year in 2003 to, you know, the first round draft picks in 2004 and playing against like Chris Paul and all these guys, you know. So it was a testimony of actually my will to actually be on that team and make it. And that was my goal, to make that team. Standpoint from what you said was just like, I was in shock and wow and awe of me being with the big boys playing at a young age that I was in and seeing my dream come true.
Do you ever wish you were drafted by a sort of a lower tier NBA team? Just in terms of, you know, maybe would have gotten more NBA, more minutes on the floor.
Yeah, I would. I mean, the younger Alex Acker would say so. You know, just to be able to play, showcase my talent, and I've seen a lot of guys that I know that I was better than at the time. They were actually playing, but it didn't matter really. Now that I look back into it, because I felt that I got more value just by being on a team like that. And it showed from my career of being a 14-year professional athlete, never being cut on a team and being a professional on and off the court. That first year really gave me the toolage to actually have a career that I had, you know, whether it was in the NBA or Europe, you know, and it was more or less something that carried weight more than anything, of me just sitting down and learning how to win, learning how to be a professional. And and the small print of it all is that, you know, the guys that I learned from that actually won a championship in 2004, from Rip Hamilton, from, you know, Chauncey Billups to Tayshaun Prince, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Lindsey Hunter, all these guys that I named were underdogs that really made themselves who they were. You know, Chauncey Billups, you know, got drafted by Minnesota Timberwolves. He didn't have, you know, the ball given to him. You know, the Timberwolves actually let him go. Rip Hamilton came from Connecticut, but still he had to prove himself, you know, as a champion. And they felt that he was undersized, as, you know, he was a toothpick, as skinny as he was. Tayshaun Prince as well, you know, from Kentucky. They thought that he wasn't going to be a player that he was. And he was really outspoken as a leader on that team that showed great value and weight for what he brought for the organization, the Pistons.
That was my next question. Who was the leader in that locker room? Because those Pistons had a lot of strong characters. You mentioned Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Tayshaun Prince. Who was the leader?
Man, I think that leadership was really in categories of people stepping up during certain times. For instance, I'll start with Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot, aka. He was a leader and a general as far as a point guard can ever be. He was really a general as far as facilitating, as far as getting people and knowing their roles, as far as knowing, 10 plays down the road. He was really a leader as far as examples, and it was many other leaders as far as examples. But Tayshaun Prince really was a quiet general, but when he did speak, people listen because he doesn't speak a lot, but for the most part, it's always valuable information, so it varies from that standpoint. And, the joker of it all was, Rasheed Wallace, everybody knows how crazy he is, but his mentality of bringing it and not taking up the BS when it was time to play, they knew what they were going to get out of Rasheed. He was a fearful person in the low post that did not like to lose. And to have somebody backing you as far as Ben Wallace, it put a lot of pressure on us as far as the up front court to actually put pressure on the offense and just sending them to the bigs. That's all he would say. Send them to me, I'll do the job. You know what I mean? And he'll make sure the job is done as far as blocking shots. And who's a person that you would have on your team, you know what I mean? If you're facing Shaquille O'Neal, I would only think of one person that can probably be able to handle a person like that, and it's Ben Wallace,
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. You mentioned Rasheed. Was he the biggest smack talker on the team?
He's the biggest smack talker for sure.
Ever, maybe?
I wouldn't
your
say
experience
ever,
at
because
least.
I never played against. I played against Gary Payton. I seen him talking shit as soon as I stepped on the court against me. I got this motherfucker right here. Excuse my language. That's what he said to me.
It's okay.
Nah, but Rasheed Wallace, man, he didn't stop. He had. If Tesla was a human, he would be that person. His battery did not die. You know what I mean? So,
do you remember a specific story, including Rasheed Wallace?
Man, I got a lot of them. He's just a big instigator to a standpoint where he instigates and aggravates a lot of people. And but he's a great energy and vibe to be around. Who the hell would not want him on his team for sure? And the story that I have, I tell it all the time, and me and Amir Johnson laughed at this too, was Amir was talking a lot of crap in practice, and they were actually really going in on Jason Maxiell. And what up, bro? And Amir was like, they're not gonna do that to me. I wish I would do that to me. He mumbled it underneath his breath or something like that. So then we were all in the locker room, and I knew what was going to happen because it was quiet. And Amir was getting his shots up, and then he walks in the locker room like, a high school kid will walk in all happy and, excited just to be in the league. And they really tackled his butt, tied him to a chair with Glad wrap, and rolled him out in the middle of the court and told any and everybody, if you try to untangle him, this is going to happen to you as well. So he was out there literally for like 2 hours after practice.
Wow.
Like, I was just like, oh my God. If I had pictures of that day in Instagram, it would be viral right now.
I bet.
Yeah. So from that point, they took him back, put him in the shower, ran cold water on him. He couldn't move. You know what I mean? It was just hilarious, man. It really was.
He was in the shower on a chair, tied to the chair.
In the chair.
Wow.
Tied to the chair. Yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
bad.
That's crazy.
It was a hazing moment for rookies for sure.
Did you experience any type of rookie hazing?
I mean, as far as carrying bags or anything, yeah, that was the minor. I mean, we got donuts at like 6:00 in the morning and newspapers when people were reading newspapers. But really, all you got to do is just go downstairs and order. We would have to go to some far off restaurant to get the newspaper, some crazy stuff like that, you know. But for the most part, nah, it was just like going places where you know you don't feel like going, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. Okay.
But you had to go with, you had to go with them, with the veterans. You know what I mean? And yeah, it was just one of those things where, you know, you had to do it.
They left you no option.
Yeah, it was no option. You had to pay for. I remember we had to pay for a certain bill. We went out to Roof Crest, a great famous steak restaurant in Chicago, all over for sure. But for the most part, we all ate as a team, and everybody got up simultaneously and left. And the rookies had a crazy amount of bill. But these are how genuine these guys are. They just wanted to see if we were going to, you know, make some fuss about it. But we paid the outrageous 6-figure bill, and they gave us our money back at the end of that, you know what I mean, at the end of the trip during the stipend. So it was pretty dope.
It was just a lesson, basically. So
yeah, it's a lesson. Yeah.
Those Detroit Pistons were one of the most physical teams during the 2000s. How did practicing with the team help you adjust to the physicality level of the NBA? And were there any team that kind of met the standard that the Pistons set during those practices, physicality wise?
Practices wasn't brutal, honestly. I can only remember practicing probably the first week before the season started, because we would have 2 days during preseason. And then from that standpoint, like I said, you got 82 games. So these guys are playing a lot of basketball. So when we did practice, it was non-contact. But for the guys that actually needed the minutes, you got to understand, like some of the names that I didn't even mention on this team were elite players: Carlos Arroyo, Carlos Delfino. You know, I was playing against these guys every day. You know, Will Bynum. You know, Chicago sensation. We were playing 1-on-1, 2-on-2, and we were making each other better. And from that standpoint, I remember if you're not playing 15 minutes, you know, you would have to be playing, you know, right after practice, right after the game sometimes, and getting extra work in to actually keep yourself ready for, you know, the time that, you know, the coach will call you. So we would be practicing not so much, but for the most part, just 1-on-1, 2-on-2.
Yeah.
3-on-3 from that standpoint.
Yeah, you mentioned Will Bynum. Will was a beast. He was like 6'1", was it, if I remember correctly? Something like that.
Jump out the gym, yeah.
He was so strong, compact. He was a beast, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him. My next question. You were coached by the late great Flip Saunders during your rookie campaign. What was your relationship like with the head coach?
What relationship? As far as any 60th pick rookie would get, you know what I mean? I think for the most part, I didn't know the situation. From the outside looking in now, he was in a hot seat. You got to think, from a team that won a championship, that lost one of the centerpieces as far as the coaching staff of Larry Brown. They really cherished and valued his leadership, his energy, and they really loved and respected Larry Brown. To lose somebody like that will back you and take all the heat, you know what I mean, as a coach, which is phenomenal. And knowing that you're going in there battling with somebody like that and lose them the next year after winning a championship is kind of like a wow factor. And then here comes Flip Saunders, who has a crazy background and history, but hasn't won a championship, and trying to implement a system that they're not familiar with. He has a lot of voices that are coming in that he has to be, you know, knowing that, you know, he has to play nice as well as implement his force too as well. So he didn't have time to actually cater towards, rookies at that standpoint. But the assistant coaches did a phenomenal job as far as, being a voice for him, letting, us know that we're still valued. But for that point of time, like my first year, I went down to the G League with Amir Johnson and played, my first game, I had like 34 points. And I was just excited to play. And they wanted to call me back up. And I was like, you guys aren't calling me up to hoop. Just leave me down here because I'm having fun. You know what I mean? And Flip always checked in on me. He always called, at least once a week, just saying, how's everything? If you need anything, letting me know about the season that's going up, getting me prepared for the end of the season, the last 20 games that I was going to be able to play and see my jersey. So that was just the incentive of that point right there. So I had to take it and accept it and not think nothing of it for sure.
Yeah. My next question was actually regarding your D-League experience. So you said that wasn't something that was discouraging for you at the time. You actually just wanted to play basketball.
Yeah. Now I want to hoop. I want to hoop so bad. Not seeing your jersey or being a part of the team in that setting, it's kind of hard, because all you want to do is play basketball. I gotta say this too. Like, I'm the kid that literally just wanted to get to the league for the NBA socks. You know what I mean? Just to get unlimited Gatorade. You know what I mean? I really was just in awe of seeing that gym full of Gatorade. My house was like full of Gatorades that I stole from the gym. You know what I mean? So I was just like that kind of kid of just wanting to hoop. And once I saw how to win and I saw a lot of basketball and I learned from these guys, I felt it was my time to actually attack the game as far as being, on the court. So I got a chance to go down to the G League and showcase my talent on a team that was pretty interesting. I think it was Fayetteville, North Carolina. Yeah, and it was literally nothing out there. It was like the best exciting thing was Denny's restaurant. You know what I mean? It was packed. So it was basketball town, and just to bring my game and have that logo still represented on my jersey as far as the NBA was pretty awesome. And the fans loved it too as well. So we put on a show every day, and I felt like I was the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, I bet playing in G League, that's a very competitive environment because you have all the guys want to prove themselves, get called up by an NBA team. So I guess that's a pretty good place to start for a young NBA player.
Yeah, for sure. And that was when the G League was called the D League. Yeah. It was back in the day. Yeah.
You also played alongside Darko Miličić. Darko was controversially so second pick of the 2003 NBA draft. Why did it not work out with Darko? What do you think? You had a first-hand experience of sharing a locker room with him.
I think you kind of hit it on the head when you asked me that first question as far as did it affect you playing on such a caliber team like the Detroit Pistons? It was kind of the same stigmatization for him. The team was already an elite team from those guys that I mentioned. And Darko didn't see a role where he can polish and develop, you know what I mean? Because you're playing against every day Rasheed Wallace, who talks the most shit. He'll talk you out of your game, you know what I mean? And you're playing against him. And as young as Darko was, he wasn't ready for that every single day, every single night. But, growing up in LA or wherever in the US, that's normal. Any gym, any workout, you're gonna hear people talking, unbelievable amount of crap. So to actually come in and get that kind of hazing every single day, it was kind of like
too much.
It was too much for him. And he didn't have time to develop. He was a great prize, you know what I mean? I seen him do some amazing things on the court and I can't knock it at all. Darko was a great athlete with the size that he was. But, it started all the way back from, Carmelo Anthony getting drafted, and they could have had him or Dwayne Wade, you know what I mean? They could have had, Chris Bosh, So hearing that and not panning out, it was kind of almost you were attacking the mirror, the man in yourself, and not being able to actually, be you. Yeah, so that was probably it.
Yeah. Okay, so after your rookie season, you took your talents overseas. You joined the Olympiacos in Greece. How did that come about?
My agent really. I can honestly say this. I was not understanding how, the business side worked. Being a kid that just wanted to hoop, I was really taken out of a situation that I was welcome, and that was the Detroit Pistons. I did not know that the Detroit Pistons wanted to sign me as a 60th pick in the NBA draft in 2005 to a 2-year deal. My agent really took me out of a situation by wanting me to sign for 1 year, thinking that I was going to play in front of Rip Hamilton, in front of, Carlos Delfino, Carlos Arroyo, Lindsey Hunter, Chauncey Billups. And he really was, not seeing that side of it. And, me not doing the due diligence, it doesn't matter if I was young or not. I didn't understand that side of the sports world, but I got offered an opportunity to play in Europe for a lot of money. And my family was really in need of it financially. Me knowing that, I was getting a lot of money in the NBA, and I was considered an entertainer, and with that being said, every city that you play in, you're getting taxed entertainment money. LA has 2 teams, you're getting taxed twice. Toronto has the highest taxing rate. So the little money that I made in the NBA was cut into half. I didn't have all that money. At the end of the day, after the 82 games, I was left with literally, a short amount of money that I really thought I did have. And I didn't do nothing, extravagant at all. But I felt that this opportunity of the money that Olympiacos was given, I was really seeing that it was going to be tax-free from that standpoint. And Detroit was really set me down, and they said, I think this is going to be a great opportunity for you. I really took it in and wrote out all the pros and cons, and I took a chance on myself and went out there not knowing about Europe, about, Olympiacos or EuroLeague or the Greek league. You know what I mean? I thought it was all one league. I was playing games and I had no clue what the hell EuroLeague was or what Greek league was, and what a team like Olympiacos meant to the fans, to the club and stuff. So it was an awakening call, but I was ready for it, playing with those guys in the NBA. I was ready for anything.
How hard was it for you to adjust to European style of basketball once you came in? How different it is compared to the NBA?
The difference, it kind of set me back to college in a way where, it wasn't a 2-3, they call it a 2.9, in the key type thing. You have big men that actually lurking in the key where, they're just there. I was blessed to have a jump shot, and I was able to use that to my advantage. The 15-foot mid-range back in Europe wasn't really established like the way I used it. So I used that to my advantage as far as the pull up and stuff like that. And just battling with these guys in the league, the technicality and physicality, it really helped me because Europe is similar to that, Xing out the athleticism. They're playing on the ground in Europe, so the bumping and it was always dealt, on the ground standpoint. Me trying to jump and dunk over people, you had to really use that maneuver as far as the Euro step. You had to really use your mind and think outside the box. And that's the most important thing I would say as far as the difference. Not relying on you.
What about in terms of being more of a team basketball, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you have the opportunity to thrive as an individual in Europe, like you do in the NBA, for example?
No, I think when you beat somebody in the NBA, it's a wide open basket. You know what I mean? Then again, it's kind of like fool's gold because you got avatar guys like, McGee that's 7 feet that can block your shot from the free throw line, But for the most part, I think Europe was really a sense of not an individual basketball. It was some great guys that were individuals that I played against, but for the most part, you had to play team basketball, and that was the nucleus of it all. Europe is really big on that, and it shows too for the most part for the teams that actually keep their core, keep their Americans and rock with them for countless years. They prevail and start winning. Down the line. I think that was the biggest thing that I saw more than anything was you got to have a good, strong nucleus, not just so much as far as Americans, but your Europeans as well too, your locals.
Yeah, absolutely. How would you describe or sum up your 1 year in Olympiacos? You were the team's leading scorer. You averaged like 14.3, I think, with some. You played with a lot of great guys. Most of the NBA fans won't know them. Yeah. Me being Croat, I have to mention Amir Johnson, for example.
Yes.
Yeah,
his guy.
His brother. Yeah, his brother was an NBA player. He plays in Maccabi, I think now.
Okay.
Baby Shaq.
Baby Shaq. So please, yeah.
So how would you sum up your 1 year in Olympiacos in terms of your basketball success and so on?
It was educational. It was really the start of my career. It was a setting, history moments as far as, what we did as far as the club wise. It was a great start for me being in that club as far as Olympiacos, looking back at it now. A lot of great stories, a lot of great wins, some great losses that I don't regret, you know what I mean? But we just played against great caliber players, we went as far as we thought we can go. Looking back now, I did not see a vision of how far we could have possibly went or the goal ahead as far as winning a EuroLeague title. Man, I was literally just playing every game like it was my last game, trying to get back to the NBA, proving myself that I was an NBA player. And there was no intake as far as me, not being present in the moment with the team. That was my own personal goal. And I knew if I was able to win games, it was going to be seen more than my personal goals. So that was my intake of it all, was just trying to win every single game possible, no matter what I had to do.
Yeah, I think that's the right mindset for an athlete for sure.
Yeah.
Do you remember the final series of Greek Championship against Panathinaikos? You guys lost in 5 games, I think.
Yes.
What do you remember about that series? Can you just describe the experience of participating in such a rivalry?
No, I mean, it was one of those things that whoever had home court advantage was pretty much going to be victorious, and Panathinaikos had that. We couldn't win at their house. They definitely couldn't win at our house. So it was just trying to steal one game. And each team came close, neck and neck, but it was just it was one of those things where we could not win, no matter what. It was some great individuals that really competed at the highest level. And I was just in the moment at that time, exhausted, gassed of playing so many games and playing these guys to the finals was awesome, and I felt that I heard it all the time that this is the biggest game probably of your lifetime. You know what I mean? It's not any. And it was kind of true in the moment because I played with the Detroit Pistons, but I never played, you know what I mean? And I played college basketball, but it was like it was a small school, and this was the biggest game coming into my career. And I was ready for every challenge for sure, all the way to this one. And these guys were really playing their butts off. I think their nucleus, as far as the team-wise camaraderie, they were really strong. They knew their strengths, and they played to their strengths like tenfold. You know what I mean? They weren't budging. They were patient as shit. I was getting so frustrated because it was just like, they're so old and methodical, but they're efficient though. You know what I mean? The way they played. So it was just like, all right, well, you just got to be, waiting for a crack to wrinkle. Yeah.
How would you compare the quality of EuroLeague and the NBA? Do you think that people don't really realize how high of how good is EuroLeague?
No, I think some EuroLeague teams can actually play in the league.
Mm-hmm.
There was talks at one point that the NBA was going to expand and play European teams. We saw that a lot, where Fenerbahce would come over and play a whole preseason against NBA players. I mean, teams and stuff. Chinese teams were playing that. You know what I mean? So the level of competition is just really getting noticed more than anything now. Where it's not a secret that, there's talent over here in Europe. There's talent over there in China. You know what I mean? And I think for the most part, me personally, like when I started in college, I never knew anything about Europe. But now that I'm more seasoned, I see guys actually looking to go to Europe more than fulfilling their dream as Americans trying to get to the NBA. You know what I mean? And which is ironic, but at the same time, they see that, it's a way of making your dream come true out here as well, too. So it's not like a setback. It's an accomplishment in itself, too, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What's frustrating for me as a European is when Luka Dončić was coming to the NBA. He was Finals MVP, EuroLeague MVP, and so on. And people were always like,
he can't do it in the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. Because they don't realize how tough it is to play in EuroLeague. Yeah.
I think he had a statement too. He said he was like, "Man, Europe is way tougher than the NBA
to score."
You know what I mean?
To score.
Yeah,
he said it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's true. Like, man, you got to maneuver through. You're American, and the weak side help is right there, sitting on your lap, and you got a big man that's 7 foot that is like ogre. You know what I mean? So it's more or less like. I really think in Europe, to be honest, I'm going to be 100% honest, it all boils down to your coach. And I say that a lot. If you have a good coach that knows the game and knows their players, it makes the game a lot easier for Europeaners, and it shows. The best coaches, have the best jobs for sure, but they have the best teams, so it's not like in the NBA, there's really good coaches and you're still on like the Sacramento Kings and stuff like that. But at the same time, in Europe, the coaches really and the coaching staff really bring value to a team.
And it's a whole different dynamic in terms of the relationship between coach and players, the team, and the hierarchy is a whole different hierarchy in Europe. How tough was it for you to adjust to having a authoritative coach? Europe.
I had my fair of coaches. I had Duško Ivanović. If anybody doesn't know that, please look up his history.
Yeah, exactly. We actually have a YouTube video. I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Difference between European and NBA coaches, and Dula is there.
Yeah, I'll give you a story of some Americans that say that if he comes to play for this team, they're free to leave. You know what I mean? Because they're fearful of their body, not their lives. Their body will break down, and you know what I mean. That's how hard of a player that he was, and he felt that players have to be, in that same type of realm of how hard he went. But basketball changed. I still feel the bruises from practice with this guy.
I believe you, man.
wake up cringing, man. So no, but I've had the likes of him. I've had Penny Gerson, who just let me play carelessly, freely, and figure it out on my own. I've had coaches that actually played the game, which is pretty awesome because they have the both perspective of the player and the coaching staff. And I had coaches that don't have an IQ of how to take the ball out, you know what I mean? And they're coaches.
Yeah.
Saying on that. So it's pretty interesting. And more or less than anything, it fluctuates as far as the style of play. And I mean by like the country that you're in when you're playing. You know, I played in Poland, it's a different style. From France, it's a different style. From Spain. And you know, that goes hand in hand too as well.
Yeah, that was actually my next question, because you joined Barcelona after your 1 year in Olympiacos. How different was playing in Spain compared to playing in Greece?
Man, Spain was NBA basketball. You know, it was up tempo, it was fast paced, it was, you know, shoot the ball in a hurry type thing. It was exciting as far as athleticism wise. It was really something to watch. You know, it was really something to view as a entertainer, to play wise, as a fan to watch. You know what I mean? It was engaging from that standpoint. Not to downplay Greece at all, but it was more of a thinking game. It wasn't so much as far as reaction or you know, fast paced twitch movement. But from that standpoint, it was really like X's and O's really paved the way as far as how you're going to win the game. And Spain was literally all off athleticism, who had the best talent and athletes, who had the best will set and drive to get things done, diving on the floor, you know what I mean? It wasn't so much brutal and pounding, but it was more or less like finesse in a way, you know?
More like NBA experience.
Yeah, more like NBA experience for sure, yeah.
After your 1 year in Barcelona, you returned to the NBA.
Yeah.
Once again, how did that come about? You rejoined the Detroit Pistons. Was it the type of arrangement where once first time you left the Pistons, did they tell you like, okay, you go to Europe for a couple of years and then, you know, gain experience, play more basketball, and then was that an arrangement that you can come back to Detroit?
No, it was an arrangement. You hit it on the head for sure. It was more. Well, I signed a clause where the Detroit Pistons had my rights, so that felt good in a way where even though I am in Europe, they still have the rights as far as my contract, and I felt like I was still a part of the Detroit Pistons as a FAR. So that was awesome to that point. And my first year in Europe with Olympiacos, I had a injury my very last game against Panathinaikos. Matter of fact, I dunked the ball completely fine, and I came down and I felt the pop in my knee. Now I didn't know what it was, but it blew up like a grapefruit when I went down the other end of the court. So I called for a sub. We lost the game, and I was driving back home. I couldn't even drive, and I was pretty much worried, you know, that something really happened. But it was just a little meniscus. You know, with that being said, I was able to get that fixed, but I wasn't ready to go back to Detroit Pistons in the right time. And I didn't want them to see me injured. So I told my agent, listen, I'll go to Europe for one more year, but definitely not Olympiacos. I wanted to go to, you know, something where it's more, you know, energetic, you know, outside of basketball as well. I wanted to go to a city that I'm familiar with, similar to LA. And Spain had all the bells and whistles from that standpoint. And it came with a healthy contract as well. So yeah, I was really happy about, you know, going to Spain, knowing that Detroit had my rights still then.
Exactly. And how different were the Pistons once you came back?
Man, it was dope. It was really good. The unfortunate thing, they drafted two guards, Rodney Stuckey and Aaron Afalo, you know, that played the same position I played. And then they actually signed Will Bynum, which I'm really pissed about because he beat us in the Final Four against Maccabi when we played him in Spain, and so I was really bummed out about that situation. So we had the same nucleus. Lindsey Hunter left, Carlos Arroyo left, Aaron Delfino left, but it brought in 2 first-round draft picks.
And Allen Iverson was there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he came secondary to the point where we exchanged him for Chauncey Billups.
Mm-hmm.
That was a crazy story too. Yeah. But yeah, he was there too. And then you got Rip Hamilton. You know what I mean? So I was drafted as a point guard, but when I came back, they moved me to a 2 guard, and I had all of these guys in front of me. And being that I was Alex Acker, and I had a name and proven in Europe, I felt that I was ready to play. Not that I was happy to be on a team. It was like I was really ready to play, and I was going to prove myself. So it just had too many weighted people over me. You know what I mean? From that point, trying to get on the court.
So how did you feel when you got traded to the Clippers? Was that a good thing for you?
Mm-hmm. No, it was a good thing for me. It was a healthy thing for me because, again, I was coming from Europe where I felt that I was able to play. But, to get traded, it sucks. But to get traded to your hometown is pretty awesome. I had a talk. The crazy story of it all was it was an All-Star break, and I went home. I didn't go to the All-Star game just to see my family in LA. And then I was ready to go back to Detroit. And I was in the car with my mom and dad, and they were taking me to the airport. And I got a call from Joe Dumars. And he asked me, he was like, "Where are you at right now?" And I said, "I'm about to get on the plane and go back home. Go back to Detroit and get ready." And he was like, "Nah, don't go nowhere. We traded you. I wanted to call you first and let you know." So I was like, "What?" So he said, "Yeah, man, I really feel that you deserve to play. There's no room for you to play, but I don't want to hold you up." So I was like, "Where did I go?" He said, "Man, you don't have to go nowhere. You're already home. We traded you to the Los Angeles Clippers." So I was like, "What?" I got the chills. I was excited, you know what I mean? And I was like, I appreciate it, man. And just me knowing that the Clippers really sucked at the time, I was going to be able to play, you know what I mean? So he really looked out for me. And I was really appreciative of that. It was sucked to leave a team like that, of a team that really wanted you and wanted you to shine, but didn't have room for you. But nonetheless, man, I was going to be able to see my jersey every single night, so I was hyped about it.
Yeah, and how do you feel about your run with the Clippers? You obviously played more minutes. You had a bigger role. Looking back, how do you feel about playing with the Clippers?
Man, I literally wanted to play more. It wasn't up to me. But we had some rookies that deserved to play. First round draft picks. Eric Gordon, who's playing now with the Houston Rockets. Al Thornton at the time, he was a great pickup as well. We had Mike Taylor, who was the first G League player to get drafted in the NBA, as well as Baron Davis and Jason Hart. But these guys weren't at the caliber of the Detroit Pistons, though. You know what I mean? So I felt that, like, I'm competing to actually play, not to just be on a team. Like, they don't know who's coming on this court. So I got my time literally on the first game. It was crazy from that standpoint. When I told you I got off the phone with Dumars, I drove up to LA. I was supposed to meet the team in Phoenix. So I'm getting on this big old plane by myself. I mean, the Clipper plane, you know what I mean? It was just me and probably another reporter, and he welcomed me and had a little story that I had to tell all the way up to this point. But I met everybody else getting off the plane in the locker room. I was the elephant in the room as far as who the hell this guy is. And we had shoot around, and then we had a game that day. We played the Phoenix Suns, and coach didn't know who the hell I was. They knew that I could play. They knew my background as far as Europe, but the first quarter didn't play. Second quarter didn't play. Third quarter, we're getting blown out by damn near 25, 30 points. Fourth quarter, he starts me, and from that standpoint, it was lights out. I was like 5 for 6. I had, I think 14 points in one quarter. And they was like, man, like you can really play. I was like, I'm trying to tell you I could. You know what I mean? I'm not no sleeper. But yeah, it was just, man, it felt like a rush. Like I was really in the league hooping, even though we lost by a lot. That fourth quarter, I was the leading scorer of the team that game. You know what I mean? And it felt good because now I'm averaging 14 points. You know what I mean?
Look it up, NBA.com.
yeah, look it up. So it was just, I mean, that whole thing was crazy to a point where we go back home and we played the Phoenix Suns at our house. Now, you would think of somebody that played the fourth quarter, made 14 points, that he's going to be able to play a lot more. I didn't play the whole game, man. Not one time. And that really just set a stone with me where like it's really a business. It's not that I can't play. It's like this isn't what you want it to be. It's other people's voices that really back this up of who's going to play. So I think for that whole year, in my mind, I felt that in order for me to be happy, I wanted to play in Europe from that standpoint because I made a name for myself. Everybody knows me and I'm going to play, so I was comfortable doing that and making that change. But I was more so happy of, playing on the court, my hometown, my friends and family could see me with the Clippers.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of frustrated for you, man, because
yeah,
I bet you deserved a lot more playing time, but
man, heck yeah.
But
sure.
you had an incredible basketball career, man. So yeah. How do you compare the locker room dynamic of the Clippers and the Pistons? Because the Pistons were a championship contender, the Clippers were, a lower tier NBA team. And how do you compare the two?
Oh man, it's a lot more to talk about when you're winning. Yeah. I can say that. There's a lot more to talk about when you're winning. It's echoes and crickets when you're losing, and it's kind of like you are the image that you present yourself. We were losing, but that wasn't us. But nonetheless, we had a lot of fun. Just the guys that we were around. It was just really like, I'm gonna go out and get mine. The conversations were different. You know what I mean? As far as competing wise, nobody said I, me in the Detroit locker room. I've never heard that. It was just like, you guys ready? Let's go. We're going to, you know what I mean? Even when we were losing games, it was just more of a helpful benefit of what we could do collectively. And to hearing that conversation change, it was kind of like, wow, like this is what's going on in y'all guys' locker room. You know what I mean? So it was like really like one of those things where it's like you can really see the narrative of the tempo, the vibes going on.
So what do you think about the players, star players who play for bad NBA teams, and the whole thing about them putting up empty numbers? Is that is that because they're in a way selfish because they don't know the team can only go so far, so let me just be as best on individual scale, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think I was blessed to actually play the game without social media dictating a lot of things. Nowadays, social media has a big drive and momentum as far as, the hype of, the expectations of what you can actually do. The stereotype of you actually bringing something to the table as far as a teammate is out the window. The small things that matter, things that are not on the stat sheet, things that you can do in the locker room and be an instrument for those things. A good example that I have was a mentor of mine in the G League, Michigan. He won a championship. What's my guy's name? What's the point guard? Oh my God, that won the championship. shoot, I forgot his name. But anyway, it come to me when I talk about it. He's a fan favorite. Got drafted by the Detroit Pistons. You see him waving a towel. Never played too much. But he gave me some great advice. He was like, listen, you just really have to first be happy where you're at. There's a lot of guys that would love to be in your shoes and your situation. And you really have to be happy of you coming this far, you know? And a lot of guys don't see that as a valuable tool, just to be happy alone and to play basketball, let alone get paid for it, you know? Those things are out the window and not cherished a lot more than what they should be. The providing of your family. And it's not a job, you know what I mean? You're literally playing a sport to keeping your body in shape and getting paid for it.
Yeah.
You know, so if you look at it like that, it's a lot more incentive, a lot more value into it. Rather just me trying to, I got to score 50, you're not passing me the ball. And it's easy to actually look at it because when you're inside that moment, of course you want to present yourself, you know, as a really good player.
Mm-hmm.
But you just got to dissect every single aspect of it, though, for sure.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to do it at the expense of your team, basically. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so after your 1 year with the Clippers, you returned to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you played in Italy, in Turkey, in France, Poland, in Greece. What would you say was your favorite place to play basketball overseas?
I can honestly say, since I got fans everywhere, it would have to be wherever I was currently at the time. No, I'm just playing.
That's the right way to put it.
The right way. For sure. No, but I had great memories in a lot of places, and brought it back a lot of memories. For sure, the most memorable thing was in Limoges when I won a championship. You know, I was in the prime of my career. I felt that even in preseason, I knew we had something as far as winning the championship, and I would be really devastated. Not so much as far as Olympiacos, even though I felt that we were winning, Barcelona as well too. And those are some of my great favorite moments too. But to really have the gear shift in my hand in the driver's seat, and I was in the car driving this motor as far as getting to a chip, it was Limoges, and it was all the weight on my shoulders. So it was, from that standpoint, I really felt that I was ready to take on that task of letting go all the accolades, individual accolades that I had, just on one goal is winning a championship. And he did some phenomenal things in that league, as far as getting Limoges back to, you know, the history that they are as far as winning a championship. So that was really dope. I really enjoyed that. And every single day
you were really, the finals. Sorry. You were the finals MVP.
Yeah, the finals MVP. Come on, man. Like, I didn't try to do that at all. It just showed that I was really not looking up. I was really had my head down, grinding, and just looked up through the last team standing, won the last game, and they gave me the trophy as the finals MVP. So that just shows that a lot of dedication went to it. Not even in that league, as far as the preparation that I had all the way into the summer moving that year. I remember that too as well. So I put a lot of sweat and energy into that league, into Limoges for sure.
Paid off for sure.
Yeah.
Great, man. Yeah. Amazing. You mentioned fans while we were talking about Greece. Your first year in Olympiacos. How different were the fans? Can you please try to paint a picture to the people that don't know? How different are European fans? And can you share some crazy fan experience from playing in Europe?
Oh my gosh! If I can just grab a couple out of the air, let's start with the the fans in Olympiacos. Oh man, I got people laughing at this. The fans in Olympiacos are, man, it seems like they, you know how they be like, don't take like your backpack inside the gym. I don't think they take their brains inside the gym. They leave them outside. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are diehard fans, man. Like, I've never seen fans that did not sit down not once during the whole game. Like they were up cheering during timeouts through halftime. They had songs nonstop. All you saw was just red, like everywhere. You know what I mean? Let alone the flare guns of going over your head while you're playing, dribbling the ball up. You're like, what the hell was that? You know, it was crazy. The loud
throwing coins,
throwing coins, hot coins with flame. They're lighting them and then throwing them and stuff like that at the opponents. The stories that I have is ridiculous, especially coming my first year of a league like the NBA, where it's like, you know, they clap when you do something awesome, but to like literally get heckled, I really love that. And the most important thing I love is playing as an underdog in other arenas when they're cheering against you. That shit gave me chills. You know what I mean?
Hostile atmosphere.
Yeah, man. Quieting the team's fans was awesome. But our fans were awesome, man. Olympiacos fans are number one by far. Yeah,
incredible, man. Who is one guy that never took his talents overseas that would have been a great NBA player, whether your former teammate or opponent?
You know that. You definitely know that answer for sure. Sophocles, man.
Yeah.
I had another gentleman too that actually got drafted as well that I played with in Barcelona, Fran Vasquez, and I always asked him, like, man, why didn't you? Like, you got drafted by Orlando. Like, go try at least. You know what I mean? And, man, he jumped out the gym. He had a nice 15-footer. He reminded me a little bit of KG. And he was fearless, you know, and he never went and tried. I don't understand why. You know what I mean? Like, see where your level of competition matches up. And I'm pretty sure you're going to be even more phenomenal when you come back, because I'm a prime example of that. But yeah, Sophocles was one of them. And I think Sopho even told me like he was scared. He doesn't know what's over there. Yeah. And I'm like, Sopho, you're the biggest thing walking. What the hell are you scared of? You know, so we got his taste. Matter of fact, we played against Cleveland, and he was with Maccabi. I remember that game, and he played really good, you know, in Cleveland, and he got a chance to play.
Who played for Cleveland that year?
LeBron James and a lot of others too as well. Too, I forgot their names, but yeah, he played for Maccabi, Sophocles, but he did phenomenal. I don't see, like, man, you could really make a lot of money over there, bro. Lazy.
Yeah.
Super lazy. I'll say it.
What about the NBA today? Do you still watch the NBA games? Are you a fan of the league?
Every day, for sure.
Really?
Every day, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I'm a big fan of basketball. I'm actually doing a podcast with a great host of mine, Jesse, and we're doing the Clipper podcast. So we watch the Clipper games, you know, as they go on, and we do podcasts once a week and stuff like that. So it's pretty awesome. But yeah, basketball stays on. I got two beautiful daughters. If basketball's not on, it's probably like Pepper Pig or something else on. But I try to get a game or two on if I can. Yeah,
make them like watching the NBA, so you don't have to make those adjustments.
Yeah, if you're not going to play it, you're going to actually see it. You know what I mean? At least see it with me. So
what's the name of the podcast?
It's a Believe podcast, BLEAV. It's this Clipper podcast for sure. Hosted by Alex Acker and Jesse. So
okay, great.
Appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Yeah.
What is your favorite team in the NBA? I'm guessing LA team, one of the two.
Oh man, you put me on the hot seat. I just told y'all I do a Clipper podcast, so I cannot say the Clippers. No, but I'm really man, I'm a sponge of basketball right now. If I'm not playing it, I just love watching it. I'm more of a fan of an individual than a team right now. Sure.
Who is your favorite player to watch?
Oh man, that's a lot of them. Dame Leonard, Steph Curry for sure. Zion Williams, you know what I mean? Explosive as he is, you know. I'm a good fan of Paul George as well too. How smooth he is, and you know, for sure the whole Laker organization, they play collectively as, you know, any team can possibly play, and they're having fun doing it. Yeah, for sure, Baron, LeBron James, and them.
What do you think about the season thus far, and what are your predictions for the rest of the 2021 NBA season?
NBA season?
Yeah.
Man, I think they came back pretty fast. You know, after the season ended, they got 75 games to bounce back and start playing again. You know, due to the fact that we're all under the circumstances as far as the virus, COVID-19. But for the most part, I think it's really amazing to watch how the NBA has really kept their players safe. But it's basketball at the end of the day. They have this little thing that I be tripping off of because, like, the fans, they're like automated, you know what I mean? But I'm like so focused that I keep forgetting that there's no fans. But at the same time, it's like, it feels like you're really engaged in watching the game, you know what I mean? So that's pretty dope about it too.
Yeah,
you know?
They did a great job. Yeah, for sure.
They did a great job with that, yeah.
What do you think about the current state of the league in terms of dominating play style, 3-point shooting, and so on?
The game has changed, man. Steph Curry has definitely changed the game. You see LeBron pulling up from half court. Who the hell does this? You know what I mean? Dame Leonard pulling up from half court off of pick and rolls. You know, you know what I mean? Luka Dončić is coming in, you know, contributing to that situation as well, and doing step back side steps, you know, half court shots. It's evolving, you know, and the game has always been evolving to a point where, you know, it's been a big man's game from one point. Then, you know, Allen Iverson comes in as a small guard that changes the game and the evolution of it, all the way to, you know, I should say, you know, LeBron James dominating as a forward guard and eliminating a real true point guard that you definitely need. And you got, you know, guards. It's been a guard mentality basketball standpoint all the way up until this point. So it's been great things. The value hasn't dropped by no means. It's just more excitement. And the rules has changed a little bit as far as the touching. I would say you can't touch nobody now.
Yeah. All the former players would tell you the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you ever wish you're an NBA player today?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's an awesome question. Yeah, for sure. I would definitely fit well. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say I would destroy, but I would fit very well in playing in today's era for sure. Even in Europe, I'll be looking at I'm like, man, it's really opened up a lot more than when I was playing. You know what I mean? It's more free of, you know, not so much as X's and O's, but just going to get a bucket, you know? Yeah.
Do you watch European basketball?
I do. Still? I watch it a lot. Yeah, I'm a fan. I had the honor of actually being mentored by a coach that's the Fenerbahce head coach now, Igor Ivanovic. And, yeah. So I like watching Fenerbahce play. I like watching my guy Igor. I like watching a lot of guys that I actually train play as well too, and seeing their success thus far for sure. Yeah.
Incredible, man. That's about it. What we usually do at the end of the interview, we go through a few quick fire questions. So just short answers and
just get it.
You actually kind of answered this, so I'm going to skip the first one. Best teammate you've ever played with, both in Europe and in the NBA.
Best teammate I ever played with in NBA. Chauncey Billups, the best one I played with. The best one I played with in Europe would have to be Torian Green from Florida. He was my point guard for Limoges. Yeah.
The toughest matchup, both in Europe and in the NBA.
I didn't have too many matchups in Europe and the NBA, but for me, it would have to be Cleveland for sure. That was the toughest matchup. LeBron dropped 24 in one quarter on us. As far as Europe, it has to be Panathinaikos for sure. Yeah.
All-time starting 5 NBA players.
Ooh, starting 5. Kobe, Jordan, LeBron for sure. You got, you got Shaquille O'Neal. That's 3, right? No, that's 4.
4, yeah.
And then you have, gee whiz. I would have to say, so I did Kobe, LeBron, Shaquille O'Neal, Jordan, and then my 5 man would probably be Shaq, man.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Who's the GOAT?
Well, I said Shaq twice. I'm sorry. I mean, it would have to be. I put. Allen Iverson, man. Forget it. Let's go. Yeah.
In starting 5.
In the starting 5, yeah.
Nice.
Just the heart.
That's a good little lineup.
It's a good little lineup. Yeah.
Who's the GOAT?
I don't know who's gonna take the ball out, but yeah. It's a good
So who would you say is the GOAT, the greatest of all time?
Greatest of all time, Michael Jordan for sure.
Who's the best player in the NBA today?
LeBron James.
Yeah. I would agree on that. And your prediction for the 2021 NBA champion?
I'm gonna have to go with my guys, the Clippers.
The Clippers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Clippers. I'm gonna have to go with the Clippers. I'm gonna just say it out loud and then just let it just go and manifest in the air. I'm gonna go with the Clippers.
But they sure look much better than they did in the bubble. So yeah.
Yeah. Let's just hope and pray they get over this hill as far as they get stomped by the Denver Nuggets every time. But yeah.
And given that James Harden was traded to the Brooklyn Nets yesterday, this isn't a quick fire question, so feel free to talk about it more. What is your prediction for Brooklyn this season? Do you think they can mesh together?
I think the will of them actually all wanting to go to a team like that means they got to let go of some firepower in order to gain access to what they can possibly do. So if they're willing to do that, for sure, it's unbelievable. They're in a great situation as far as the East Coast, so it's not as a lot of potential teams that are competitors in a way that the way they compete. You got to think these guys, Durant, he's a West Coast up-tempo type guy that can actually do a lot of things. He's an elite player. I don't even have to go into that. James Harden, up-tempo guy, West Coast, mentality as far as the conference that he played in. So they're bringing that into an East Coast environment that they're not familiar with, and they're going to really dominate. It just boils down to Kyrie Irving really actually wanting to play and participate. If that happens, then it's going to be lights out. Once he gets on the court and he's really committed, it's going to be phenomenal. I don't think it's going to be any more of a mesh that anybody thinks. For sure, they're going to bump heads, but if they're willing to play and compete, they're going to let go a lot of the confined strengths of dominating the ball so much.
Okay, man. That's about it, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure. It's been great.
No, this is.
And once again, a shout out to your Believe podcast, right?
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So go listen it and And yeah, that's about it, man. Thank you so much.
Okay,
And
talk
to you.
If anybody want to follow me, go ahead and follow me on Ackrite, ACKRIGHT, on Instagram. All right. But I appreciate it, bro. Thank you for jumping on and underneath the fire.
Yeah.
I know my man had you going on, but you did an amazing job though.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.